So welcome everybody to our first ever episode of the Happy Hour. This is a project that KMVT has started to as we learn how to produce live television remotely. We will be hosting several episodes, trying out different technologies. Our first one is Zoom, and today we're talking about music. We have Tim Erskine, our special guest, or Tim Erskine from KMVT staff, who produces his own music show, and we have Justin Ng, who is producing movie soundtracks. He's an up and coming artist, and we'll see him a lot more and hear a lot more about him. So hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Hey.
So I'm curious, like both of you started quite a while back, I'm guessing, with music, and I'm wondering like how you got into music. Like, you know, were you kids? Were you not? Like what instruments did you play? Justin, do you want to take a crack at that one first?
Yeah, sure. This I started when I was around maybe 5 or 6. I started with piano, and it was a typical Asian thing, you know. I wasn't forced into it or anything, but it happened like my mom asked me if I wanted to play piano. I was like, okay. It wasn't an informed decision, but it was something that stuck with me. I stuck with for like 10 years. But I didn't really. So we had a standardized testing. So every year I'd learn four songs, and at the end of the year I'd perform it to some teacher, and I'd get a grade, and that was it. I was just 4 songs a year. I wasn't really into it.
Okay.
But in high school I played guitar. I started teaching myself guitar, and that's when I really got into music making, getting into recording demos and stuff like that.
Okay. And how about you, Tim?
Well, I started in earnest in 7th grade. And strangely enough, I was taking an acoustic guitar class, and the teacher told me that I would never learn how to play guitar. And but he said, maybe you could learn how to play bass. So over that summer between 7th and 8th grade, I took private lessons and group class in upright bass. And that was it. I played electric bass, upright bass, and in high school I took up tuba.
Tuba. And do you still play tuba?
No, I don't play anything anymore. I have arthritis in my hands, and now I mostly do sound engineering.
Okay. And you do sound engineering. Tim, you have your own show that you do with KMVT, right? Or that you produce at KMVT, I guess.
Yes, I do. We've been doing it about almost 10 years now, and we have probably about 100 shows, 120 shows. My YouTube channel does pretty good. I've actually had a couple of people on there that have been on an American Idol later on, one just recently, and there's a bluegrass singer. She's got like 3 albums out, lives in Nashville, and was Guitar Player of the Year last year, according to Guitar Player magazine. And
you have a clip of that, right?
Actually, I have a different clip up right now. But
okay.
I have a clip. I wanted something to show a little more rock rather, because the bluegrass is a little different.
So what's this clip? Who's this on the clip?
This is
MyTunes TV.
Yeah, this is a band called Sweet Hiea, and we had them on about 6 months ago. And you want to see a little bit of this?
Yeah, that'd be great.
choice.
Cool.
That was interesting. What genres would you call that?
I have no idea what you'd call that.
It's like
It-
some sort of fusion.
Yeah, it is. They're kind of a Latin influenced with a little ska. The pretty good band. They do all originals, and they work a lot. So they're really popular here in the Bay Area.
Okay.
When was that recorded?
That was recorded about a year ago, I think. We started recording in HD at the station in 2015, and so I have a lot of stuff from before 2015, but it's all standard definition, so I really don't use it that much. So I noticed I'd like to hear some of your stuff. Do you have anything ready for us?
Sure, yeah. I think we've got something lined up.
It-
I'm just a guy. I make music in my spare time. I have aspirations, but for now I'm just a guy. Just get that out there.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Which one do we want to do? We want to start with Mass Effect. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we got that here. Just 1 second. Nice.
Wow.
So this piece like reminds me of like A Beautiful Mind, like just like something's about to happen, right? There's it definitely sounds like a movie soundtrack.
Yeah, kind of the opening overture to like a Game of Thrones style adventure fantasy type shit thing. Very cool.
Well, so both kind of so actually the name is a play on a video game series called Mass Effect with an E.
Mhm.
And it's more like it's sort of like a set in space sci-fi shooter kind of game.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what that was supposed to be. But
I
at least
haven't.
it was filmic.
So my question is, I didn't hear that much guitar in it. You're using mostly MIDI instruments, or?
Yep. That's correct. About a year ago, I decided to, because I had always liked the sound of orchestra. So about a year ago, I sort of pivoted from making just metal stuff to more. It wasn't really like I wanted to get into film or anything like that. It was just I wanted to broaden my sound palette. So yeah, I started getting into orchestral stuff, getting into synth programming, other sound design things. Yeah. It's just
So
what I like listening to because I'd say, I mean, I don't have the most eclectic music taste, but I like a lot of different sounds. So,
one quick question. So how are you inputting your MIDI? Are you using a keyboard to input your MIDI?
got it right here. Here's see?
Okay.
Yep. Got this thing not too long ago, actually. Yeah, this is my main thing. I've got a digital piano behind me too.
So do you real time input all that stuff, or most of it, or is a lot of it done note for note in MIDI patching?
So I've forgotten most of my piano playing stuff. Right. I can, given enough time, I can still learn a piano piece, but I'm not good enough to just play whatever comes to mind. So it's a mix. So for orchestral programming, lots of times I'll be inputting just a violin or a cello patch. So single lines like that I can do. And I've been practicing using one hand to play the line and the other to control like the dynamics and vibrato and stuff like that. Uh, but it's a combination. Sometimes I need to do input the MIDI and then edit it painstakingly.
And what digital audio workstation do you use?
FL Studio. It's what I started with, and it's not let me down yet. Except for when syncing a picture, it's a little bit fiddly, but
Yes. Well, actually, they until you get to very expensive ones, they all are.
oh, yeah.
If you use like Bandcamp or something like one of the less expensive DAWs, trying to sync it to music is really tough. But when you get up to Pro Tools, now they can actually use SMPTE timecode for syncing, which makes it a ton easier.
What do you use, Tim?
I use Pro Tools, and simply because the bass player in the band I do sound for worked for DigiDesign, and he was able to get it for me. And once he was able to get it for me for a deal very early on, like Pro Tools 6 or 7, and then he left. And now I know that program. So what you end up doing is, rather than trying to learn a new program, you just bite the bullet and pay the money for the updated program, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I read about a lot of professional composers that know like 5 different DAWs. I'm not. That's next level.
Yeah. I've done I've done a little bit with Studio One because I have a Presonus audio interface and it came free with it. And actually, I really like it. It's just that when I'm going to mix a band or something, I just want to get it done. So rather than learn the new DAW, I just go back to what I know. And we all do that, I'm sure. You know, it's like I could fiddle around with something new, or I could just get this done.
There are too many things to get better at.
Yeah. So do you like playing electric or acoustic guitar? What do you use it most when you're playing
Electric.
guitar?
So I'm a metalhead at heart. So yeah, it's like in high school it was stuff like Arch Enemy, Children of Bodom. Don't know if you would have heard of that stuff.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, nice.
Well,
Sweet.
I don't listen to it. I've heard of it.
Okay, all right. A little bit of Metallica. For a while, I found a bunch of guys on Craigslist, and I jammed with them in someone's garage for like a year. That was really fun. But yeah, I like metal a lot, so I actually have my guitar right here. So,
Very
7
nice.
string,
7-string?
Floyd Rose.
Huh. You
Yeah.
know, I like guitars with 6, basses with 4. You know.
Oh man.
It's just simpler.
Well, I was
That
in
string.
Like I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot like about it. What is the 5-string?
Yeah, so most basses are 4-string with the low string being an E. And they put a string below it for a low B, which will get you down almost to the range of a tuba, which goes down to the B flat below the E and the E on the electric guitar. But
Okay.
I had a 5-string Ibanez, and I would almost never play it. I would always either, when I'm just around here, I have a little Fender Mustang bass, and then my really good bass, I had a 1970 EV3, Gibson EV3, but since I don't play anymore, it was ridiculous to let a valuable bass set in a case when someone should be using it. So
What kind of music did you play back then?
Well, I started out, my very first band we played, and this is like 67, Creedence Clearwater, Jimi Hendrix,
I'm into that.
the Beatles, stuff like that. And, you know, up through high school, I played in a band that we did some some originals and some covers. When I was 26, I smashed my left hand and couldn't play for a few years. So it was, for me, it was just the natural progression to go into doing sound. If I couldn't play, I could still. And the band I was in high school is still together after 40 years. And they're still playing.
They're still playing.
Yeah.
40 years later. Wow.
Yeah.
You ever have them come into the studio?
Yes, I've done a couple of sets with them. It's kind of funny because right after college, we decided we were going to be a fusion band. We played all the big club. I was doing sound for them, but played all the big clubs like Keystone in San Francisco. Big, where you do one set of original music and there's 4 bands, showcase stuff. But there was absolutely no money in that, none. So we switched around and became a wedding band and added a horn section. So now it's a 7-piece band. They still do some original music, but 90% of what they make their money off of is doing weddings, corporate events. And since COVID, they're not doing any of that.
So I'm curious. So a little bit different subject, but Justin, so some of your early stuff was metal, right? Like, or it was metal influenced. And you said you had, and I think we have a clip of your last demo. Yeah, which one is that? Do you know the name of it?
Well, I decided to call it "Extinguishing the Sun."
Okay. Can we play that for a moment? So I'm curious. So are you still doing more of that? More of it?
I haven't recorded anything in a while. I still play guitar pretty often.
And that was played on the guitar, right? Like that
Yes,
wasn't a MIDI.
That was played on a guitar.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still really into that stuff. I know it might have been a little bit out of left field, but I'm really into dissonant, evil sounding stuff. So lately the kind of metal I've been listening to is like now I'd be very impressed if you guys heard of this stuff, but like Gorguts or Deathspell Omega, Cannibal Corpse probably.
I have definitely not
No.
heard of this, but you do seem like a very evil person. That's the first at first glance. I thought that's an evil person. So it makes sense that you're listening.
I'll take
to
that
evil
as a
music.
compliment.
So do you use a Marshall amp?
I don't. No. I've got a Boss Katana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a I'd say it's a pretty good practice, and like it's not that fancy, but it sounds good enough. And I actually got it to compete with I found a bunch of guys to jam with on Craigslist, and our drummer was hitting really, really hard. He's one of those guys, so I needed a bigger amp. Before that, I was using a Blackstar, the 5-watt one.
Mm-hmm.
So the demo that we just heard was the Blackstar with the emulated output, because I don't really have the setup for proper guitar amp recording here.
Yeah, the neighbors usually don't like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, actually got a shared wall right there, so that is very true.
So you played in metal bands in high school and
Not really. I actually didn't really have a lot of friends who were into the same kind of music I was. So I had a couple of jam buddies, but we do like blues stuff. I never really got to the point of actually performing in front of anyone. So I'm very much a bedroom musician.
Well, you know, I it, nowadays it's almost more important to record than it is to perform outright. It's always nice to play in front of people because there's nothing that gives you better chops than playing in front of people, but nothing lets you define your sound better than recording, because you know that way you have a chance to explore sounds and get to sound that's yours, you know, where it's hard to do that when you're playing live. You end up, you know, going to the tried and true sound that, you know, that you've always used.
Yeah, I've always had that problem going to live concerts even, because it never sounds as good as a recording does. Like I understand there's a lot of studio wizardry and editing that goes on, but even just the pure guitar sound, I know that that's also heavily layered, but you know, it it tends to like nothing sounds so very clear in a live concert. Apart from one time, I went to this festival in Germany called Wacken. It's a metal festival, but
Mhm.
it was outdoors. It was the first outdoor festival, big outdoor festival that I'd been to, and being outdoors is such a huge difference in sound quality.
Yep. Well, and also a lot of times for these big outdoor concerts, they hire sound companies that know what the hell they're doing. You know, when you have that many people, you need quality gear and a quality engineer doing it, or it's going to be awful. You know.
So I think we're just about time. I want to say thank you very much to our special guest, Justin Ng, for joining us. Thank you.
No problem. I had
And
fun.
and this is Tim. This is Tim Erskine also with us, and Adam Studioglat. And we're gonna play as an outro. We're gonna play. This is a clip, "Stealing the Sun," or "Stealing My Own Ship." Uh, Justin, what is the background of this? Can you share that with me before we go?
It's meant to be so Mass Effect. I told you it was like space sci-fi sort of thing. This
Okay.
is meant to be like in the same album. It's my own way of giving myself a goal to work toward.
All right. Can we play that? And thank you for all joining us.